when Cristiano Ronaldo returned to his former youth club, sporting CP in Lisbon. He expected to find memories of his football beginnings. What he didn't expect was to find Mr. Silva, the same groundskeeper who had believed in him when he was overlooked for the senior team, still tending the training pitches at 79 years old. This discovery left the global football icon in shock. While most people in his position would have offered a handshake, perhaps an autograph, and gone about their day, Ronaldo's reaction upon seeing his elderly mentor still working triggered a chain of events that no one could have predicted. What began as a simple club visit would transform not only the life of Mr. Silva and his wife Maria, but also Ronaldo's own life, and finally that of an entire community. The question wasn't whether Ronaldo would help his former mentor, but how far he would be willing to go to repay a debt of gratitude forged over decades. No one, not even Mr. Silva himself, could have predicted what Cristiano Ronaldo would do next. Cristiano Ronaldo's sleek black SUV parked in the sporting CP training ground parking lot as the afternoon sun ricocheted off the windows of the facility where he began his football career more than 20 years ago. He sat in the car for a moment, hands still on the steering wheel. "Are you sure you want to do this?" asked Miguel, his personal assistant, who had moved to the passenger seat. Ronaldo nodded. Sometimes we need to remember where we came from to understand where we are. He got out of the car, noticing how his knees, at 40 years old, were no longer the same after years of sprints and free kicks. He adjusted his CR7 cap, pulling it a bit lower over his eyes. Perhaps they wouldn't recognize him immediately. The main entrance had been modernized since his youth days, but the club colors remained intact. Ronaldo opened the heavy door and entered. The hallway was quiet. Training sessions had ended an hour earlier, but some young players remained for extra drills. Two boys passed by animatedly, discussing Champions League statistics, without even giving a glance to the man who had redefined the game with his relentless drive. Ronaldo smiled to himself. In his time, he hadn't been Cristiano Ronaldo, but simply Cris, the lanky kid that many doubted would go far in football. He followed the familiar path to the training pitch, passing display cases that now exhibited his jersey and photos. There was an entire section dedicated to him with newspaper clippings, youth academy statistics, and photos of his visits over the years. It had been almost 5 years since he had returned. The smell hit him as soon as he stepped onto the training ground. That mixture of fresh-cut grass, sweat, and leather, similar in all football facilities across the world. Some things never change. The pitch itself had new, pristine goalposts, and on one of the walls, a huge mural of Ronaldo, striking one of his iconic free kicks with the words, "Work in silence. Let your success make noise," painted in green and white letters. "Well, that's new," he muttered to himself. The training ground wasn't empty. In the background, a youth team was practicing crosses and volleys. The coach shouted instructions as they took turns in the exercise. None of them noticed the football star standing at the edge of the pitch. Ronaldo walked along the sideline as memories flooded each step. This was the place where Coach Ferreira told him he needed to work more on his physique. This was the place where he stayed after hours as a youth player practicing free kicks until his legs ached. This was the place where he promised himself that no one would doubt his talent again. He was so absorbed in his thoughts that he almost didn't notice the elderly gentleman slowly raking the grass near the goalposts. There was something about the way he moved carefully, deliberately, proud of his work that was familiar to him. Ronaldo watched him for a moment. The old man was wearing blue work pants and a gray shirt with the club name embroidered on the pocket. His back was slightly bent, and his snow-white hair reflected the stadium lights. He moved slowly but steadily, making sure no patch of grass was left untended. "Excuse me," said Ronaldo, approaching the old man. He looked up, squinting his eyes. "The youth team practice will still take a while, sir," he said in a calm voice. "I'm just visiting." "I trained here," Ronaldo replied. "Ah, an alumnus. A lot of people come to visit. You must have graduated a long time ago, I imagine." "Class of 2002, commented Ronaldo. 2002, repeated the old man thoughtfully. "I've been here since then, for many years." Ronaldo looked at him more closely, mentally removing the wrinkles and white hair, and said, "Mr. Silva, is that you?" The groundskeeper tilted his head, studying Ronaldo's face. "Do I know you, son?" "It's me, Cris, Cristiano Ronaldo." Mr. Silva's eyes widened. He rested his rake against the goalpost and took a step toward him. "Little Cris Ronaldo?" "Seriously?" Ronaldo smiled. "I'm not so little anymore, Mr. Silva." "My God," muttered Mr. Silva. "Cristiano Ronaldo in person." He hesitated for a moment and then extended his hand. "Sorry for not recognizing you immediately. My eyes aren't what they used to be." Instead of shaking his hand, Ronaldo hugged him. Mr. Silva felt fragile in his arms. As they separated, Ronaldo noticed the groundskeeper's eyes filling with tears. "I can't believe you're still working here, Mr. Silva. It's been almost 20 years. 2 years next month," agreed the groundskeeper. 37 years in total. "And how old are you now, if it's not too impolite to ask?" "I turned 79 last month," replied Mr. Silva with a hint of pride. 79. Ronaldo couldn't hide his astonishment. "And you're still working full-time?" "I have nowhere else to go," replied Mr. Silva with a slight shrug. "And the pitches need tending." Ronaldo looked at the man who had worked silently during all those years. He remembered how Mr. Silva used to open the training ground early so he could practice before sessions. How he stayed late without complaining. When Ronaldo wanted just 5 more minutes of shots. How he offered words of encouragement on days when nothing seemed to go right. "Remember how you used to let me in early to practice?" asked Ronaldo. Mr. Silva's face lit up. "Of course I do. You were always the first to arrive and the last to leave. I've never seen anyone work so hard." He laughed. "Sometimes I almost had to kick you out so I could go home for dinner. Maria would get very angry if I was late." Ronaldo smiled at the memory. "But it was worth it, wasn't it?" Mr. Silva nodded as he pointed to the mural on the wall. "Look at you now." In the distance, the youth team's coach blew his whistle, and the practice was beginning to end. The boys grabbed their water bottles and backpacks. "I should finish up here," said Mr. Silva, picking up his rake. "I have to tidy the sidelines before my shift ends." "What time do you finish?" asked Ronaldo. "Around 6, I think." "We could meet when you finish. Maybe get something to eat." Mr. Silva seemed surprised by the invitation. "Dinner with me?" "No, Cris. You must have important people to see." He placed his hand on the old man's shoulder. "Mr. Silva, you are the most important person I want to see today." The groundskeeper's eyes crinkled into a smile. "Well, in that case, I accept. But nothing fancy. These old bones don't fit so comfortably in luxury chairs anymore." "I know the perfect place," said Ronaldo. "See you at the main entrance at 6. As Ronaldo walked through the corridors of his former club, his mind was buzzing with memories. Mr. Silva had always seemed older to his teenage eyes, but now the man was 79 years old and still raking the pitches. Something about that didn't sit right. When he reached his car, Cristiano Ronaldo, the man recognized for his incredible work ethic and determination, had made a decision. He didn't yet know exactly what he would do, but he was sure of one thing. Mr. Silva's life was about to change. At the main entrance, exactly at 6 o'clock, Ronaldo was waiting. He had already made last-minute calls, canceled a dinner with sponsors, and rescheduled his flight back to Madrid. Some things were more important than business. The club was empty with only a few cars left in the parking lot. Ronaldo leaned against the wall, checking his watch. At 6:15, the main doors opened and Mr. Silva came out, walking slowly. He had changed from his work uniform into a button-up shirt and khaki pants that seemed a bit too large for his slim figure. "Sorry to keep you waiting," said Mr. Silva. "The academy director wanted to talk when he saw me leave dressed like this." "No problem," replied Ronaldo. "My car is over there." Mr. Silva's eyes widened at the sight of the elegant SUV. "The fanciest car I ever rode in was my son's Fiat at his wedding," he commented. Ronaldo opened the passenger door. During the drive through Lisbon, Mr. Silva pointed out the changes in the city. New buildings where fields used to be, old shops that had closed, and the cafe where he used to take his wife on dates, now converted into a boutique. "I was thinking we could eat at Tasca do Zé," said Ronaldo. "Is it still open?" Mr. Silva's face lit up. "Of course it is. It's been there since the 60s. You remember that place?" "The best bacalhau in town," commented Ronaldo with a smile. "My father used to take me there after matches." The Tasca do Zé looked exactly as Ronaldo remembered: wooden tables, checkered tablecloths, and photos of local football teams on the walls. In fact, there was a faded photograph of the Sporting CP youth team next to the cash register. A middle-aged waiter approached the table. "What can I get for you?" He interrupted his sentence when he saw Ronaldo. "Meu Deus, are you Cristiano Ronaldo?" Ronaldo nodded politely. "Yes, sir. Could you bring us 2 menus, please?" The waiter ran off, muttering to his colleagues, and soon everyone in the restaurant began looking at the table. "Sorry about that," commented Ronaldo to Mr. Silva. Mr. Silva laughed. "Must be strange to be recognized wherever you go." "You get used to it," replied Ronaldo. "But enough. I want to hear about you, Mr. Silva. All these years at Sporting CP. That's dedication." The old man shrugged. "It's just a job. Someone has to keep the pitches clean." "But most people retire long before that age," said Ronaldo in a slow voice. His smile faded a little. "Well, retirement is for those who can afford it." Before Ronaldo could ask more questions, the waiter returned with the menus and a football for Ronaldo to autograph. After ordering bacalhau and some wine, Ronaldo resumed the conversation. "Tell me about your family, Mr. Silva." The old man's eyes sparkled. "Maria and I have been married for 56 years next month. I have 2 children, João and Ana, who live in Porto now, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren that I haven't met yet." "That's wonderful," commented Ronaldo. "I remember Mrs. Silva sometimes bringing your lunch." "She still does that once a week on Tuesdays. She always prepares a cod sandwich." Mr. Silva laughed. "She treats me like I'm still 40 years old." While sharing the meal, Ronaldo asked more questions and discovered that Mr. Silva started working at Sporting CP in 1987, a few years before he became a youth player there. Before that, he served in the military and then worked in a textile factory that closed. "I never thought I'd end up being a groundskeeper at a football club," admitted Mr. Silva. "But it turned out to be the best job I've ever had." "Why is that?" asked Ronaldo. "Because seeing the kids grow up and being a small part of their lives," said Mr. Silva, as he bit into his fish. "Look at you. You were a lanky youth player who dreamed of playing in the Primeira Liga." "I wasn't always Cristiano Ronaldo football star," remembered Ronaldo. "Many thought I was too skinny, too weak." Mr. Silva nodded. "I found you practicing alone on the pitch once, after the coach told you that you needed to get stronger." Ronaldo put down his wine glass. "I remember that. Of course, you were there. I was taking free kicks in the dark. I didn't even turn on the floodlights. You could only hear the sound of the ball hitting the net again and again." The memory flooded Ronaldo. Disappointment, anger, determination. "Do you know what you told me that day?" asked Ronaldo. Mr. Silva thought for a moment. I can't remember exactly. You said sometimes the best players are those who have to fight for their place. And then you handed me the keys to the training ground and said I could practice as much as I wanted, as long as I locked up when I was done. His eyes crinkled into a smile. Look at that. I gave advice to the greatest goal scorer of all time. That meant a lot to me, said Ronaldo. You made me feel like I was worth something, even when I was told I was too small. Everyone is worth something, replied Mr. Silva. And that's true for any child, regardless of whether they become famous or not. As they finished the meal, which Ronaldo insisted on paying for, he said, "Let me drive you home." Leaving the restaurant, several people approached asking for autographs, but Ronaldo was courteous and brief. After saying goodbye to the admirers and making sure Mr. Silva was comfortable, Ronaldo insisted on accompanying him all the way home. During the journey in the luxury SUV, both traveled through the streets of Lisbon, observing the changes in the city, new buildings and old streets, evoking memories of a time when life was much simpler. In a calm voice, Ronaldo confessed, "I've been thinking about everything you sacrificed during these 37 years. It pains me to know that after all you've given, you continue working day after day. Have you thought about resting, letting others take care of you, Mr. Silva?" Looking out the window, he replied with humility, "Every day I get up because this job gives me purpose, but sometimes I wonder if it's time to change, to enjoy a bit of the time I have left." The conversation turned into a deep and emotional recollection of old times at Sporting CP. Anecdotes, early triumphs, and those moments of struggle on the pitch that had marked Ronaldo's life. Upon arriving at the groundskeeper's modest home, located in a quiet neighborhood, Ronaldo helped him out. Inside, the atmosphere was welcoming. Black and white photographs, dusty trophies, and newspaper clippings decorated the walls, telling the story of a life full of effort and dedication. That night, after saying goodbye with a sincere hug, Ronaldo felt inspired and decided it was time to do something that would honor Mr. Silva's long daily journey. The following week, he organized a surprise meeting at the club in his honor. He invited alumni, coaches, and community members who, like him, knew the impact the groundskeeper had on their lives. During the emotional ceremony, with videos and photographs that narrated years of dedication, words of gratitude and affection were shared. The highlight of the event was the announcement of a special tribute. The club, in conjunction with the Cristiano Ronaldo Foundation and some sponsors, had organized a fund so that Mr. Silva could retire with dignity. He was offered a lifetime pension that would allow him to enjoy his golden years without the pressure of having to work every day. Additionally, Ronaldo announced that he was funding annual scholarships in Mr. Silva's name for young players who demonstrated the same type of perseverance and hard work that the groundskeeper had shown throughout his life. Through tears of emotion, the old man accepted the gift, recognizing that despite his modesty, his work had left an indelible mark. That same night, Mr. Silva sat in his favorite armchair, looking at the photos and memories that adorned his small living room. For the first time in decades, he felt truly valued, as if every drop of sweat and all the endless days had been worth it. Meanwhile, Ronaldo, standing on the threshold of the training ground, looked at the mural of his own free kick and understood that greatness was not measured only in goals and trophies, but also in the ability to inspire and transform lives. In that emotional reunion of gratitude and legacy, the end of an era was sealed, and the beginning of a new stage began, where each small gesture, each word of encouragement had the power to change the course of a life. Cristiano Ronaldo left that night with a certainty that by helping his mentor, he had contributed to weaving a future full of hope and recognition for an entire community.